Hello, thank you for coming to my channel. This is Rick's Garage, and today we're building the Willys Jeep from iXO Collections. Pack 3, stages 11 to 15. Now if you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the descriptions below and a QR code that will take you right on over to iXO Collections. But before we get on with our build, I want to review a little bit of what we did in Pack 2 at the end of stage 10. We completed the engine, all the engine details, and we also, at the end of stage 10, the completion of pack 2, we installed this wire on the chassis and we put our bumpers on, looking just like that. In this pack, in pack 3, we're going to be adding more detail to the chassis. So with all that being said, let's get on with this build. Okay, the first thing that we want to do, we want to take the machine gun mounting plate. This is plastic. We're going to put it alongside this support from underneath. So you got these two lugs right here. We're going to go into these two screw lugs right there, like that. Turn it over, and we're going to secure that in with two CP screws. Okay, got one in. Do the second one. I'm just putting these in temporarily until I get this part on securely, and then I will screw it down by holding it underneath to support it, and we'll screw those in nice and tight. Now this is plastic, so I'm not screwing in too tight. I'm just only going in until I feel a resistance, and then maybe just one additional quarter turn of the screwdriver. Okay, that's in on that side, like that. Okay, next we're going to take our engine support, and it has this type of a design on this side and a flat design on this side. And we're going to take it with this way around, with this pointing toward the back end of the truck, underneath this support, like that, and we'll secure it in with an FM screw. And that's how that looks on the top and on the bottom. So next we assemble the gearbox casing, and this is going to be a little fiddly, but the way this goes on is you take this part here, looking like that, and you slip it into, you slip it into this notch right here. There's this lug on the back, and that lug is going to go into that notch. It's going to look like that. And then you do the same thing with this part here. It goes in right like that. And then you take this top part, matching this curvature with this curvature here, and these two lug holes into these two screw ports right there, and you marry them together. So it is a little fiddly to get this in, and I really can't get a nice smooth flush fit there, but I can on the other side. I really don't think it matters all that much, but that's the way it looks when you try to do a dry fit on that. And we're going to secure this in with two CP screws at the top. So let me get all this situated and come back and I'll show you what this is going to look like. Okay, when you get your CP screws in, it helps to get this to be a tight fit around the edges there, but that's what that looks like once it's all installed. Okay, next we work on our brake drum and our brake drum cover. We have two screw holes there. They're going to match up with these two screw holes there. Going to go on just like that, and we're going to then secure that in with two CP screws. A CP screw here, and we'll get these in. So that's one. And get the other one. Okay, that's your brake drum. Okay, now next what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take this part here, we're going to turn this over the chassis, and then we're going to attach this right here. There's a screw hole here that's going to go into that screw hole there. I'm going to put it in just like that, and we're going to attach that with a DM screw. And with all screws that end in an M, it means it's going to go into metal, which means I dip that screw into some oil. We'll get that secured in, just like that. And I'll put this in a little bit later. Put that back in there. Wire fell out. Okay, next we take our brake drum, and we have a lug right there, or a lug hole right there, and we then attach it to our, this way around. We attach it to our part like that, and we secure that in with a CP screw. And that's how that brake drum looks once it's installed. Now make sure that there's some ribs right here that you see, some small spacing. Make sure that the larger spacing is facing in this direction here. So this large spacing is closer to this part there. Okay, then next we have an oil plug that we need to cut off this sprue, which is going to go into that hole right there. And once the plug is in, that's how that looks. And I did glue that in. It's a really small part. It didn't go in very tight, so I didn't want to lose it, so I just glued it in. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, in stage 12, it looks like we're going to be working on the suspension. So let me get this open and get started. Now all the parts in step 12 are metal, and one of the first things we're going to do is attach these leaf spring supports. This one here, looking like that, is going to go there, and this one is going to go here, and we're going to secure those in with FM screws. And that's what those look like when they're installed. Okay, next we take a C-hinge or C-clamp, looking like this. Again, this is metal, and we take this metal plate. We're going to put the C-hinge in this way around on this back screw here, and then we're going to attach also on the front like this, that clamp, and then secure it both in with an FM screw. So let me get these in. I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, now again, if the letter of the screw ends in M, it means it's going into metal. So I've dipped that screw into some oil and I screwed it in nice and tight. Okay, so that is your leaf C-hinge, leaf spring C-hinge, and clamp in place. Okay, now the leaf spring has a large hole on this side and a small hole on this side. It's the large hole side that's going to go onto this C-clamp here, and then it's going to, the other side is going to wedge in. This is a pretty much of a tight fit, but it's going to wedge into this clamp over here. On this side, we're going to secure it in with an FM screw, and over here we're going to attach these two brackets on either side and fix those in with an FM screw as well. So let me get these in, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, there's the back end. We took the clamp and screwed the clamp in up against the C-clamp right there. So this is now secured in. So that's what that looks like. We're going to do the same thing on this side. It's going to be a little difficult for me to show you on camera, but we're taking this clip and I'm going to screw this in with a CM screw, and this is going to be a little bit difficult to show on camera completely. I'm going to screw this in. So I got that side in, move it up a little bit like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and they're in. Okay, so that leaf spring is in, and that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, before we go on the next stage, on stage 13, I want to first talk about the differences between the leaf spring on this side of the chassis versus what we're going to be constructing on this side of the chassis. I assumed that this was going to be a mirror image, and it's not. There's only one small difference between this side and this side, and that has to do with these clips right here on the back. Now if I turn this chassis over this way, this is now the top of the chassis. So this is the left side and this is the right side, and this is the front of the vehicle. So in the previous stage that we were working on, we were really working on the left side. and on the left side has these two tabs here. On the right side, there's not going to be these two tabs. So if by mistake you put your left side leaf spring on the right side, it'd be a good time right now to make that switch. I wanted to make that point out just in case you may have made a mistake. And since mine are on the right side, or on the correct side, I'm going to go now on to the next stage. Okay, in step 13, we're going to be working on the left side of the chassis. And since we've already done this once before, we should be able to do this quite quickly. So the first thing that we need is this clamp right here, and that's going to go right there. And this one is going to go on this side over here, and we're going to secure those in with FM screws. Okay, next we take our C-clamp, put it through this bracket like so. We take our clamp, and we attach it right here, and we fix this in with an FM screw. Okay, once that's securely in, we then take our leaf spring with a larger hole, put it over here like this, move our bracket up to match into that hole, and we secure this in with an FM screw. Okay, once that's been secured in, we then manipulate our leaf spring to line up with a hole on the back of this bracket here. And instead of using these clips that we had over here, we're just going to secure this in with a GM screw, which is a new screw that we haven't used before. And that's this long screw right here. And we now have both of our leaf springs in. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, and in step 14, we add more details to our suspension, and it looks like we're going to be also attaching the front axle. So let's get these parts out and get on with step number 1. Okay, the first thing we want to do is take the right front plate clip, and this is metal, and it's going to go in between these two clamps, but on mine it's not going to fit. The clamps are too close together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the screw up back here so I can move that clip out a little bit to give me a little bit of breathing room, and then attach the clip in like so, and then secure this in with a CM screw, and then retighten the screw right back here. Okay, next we're going to take our axle, and we notice that the axle has a thicker side here and a thinner side over here. There's a ridge right here. And we have this screw hole right here. The screw hole is going to go between these 2 points. So you want this to be facing down. The screw hole faces down between these 2 right here. We're going to take our axle, put it underneath the leaf springs, and this screw hole here is going to match up with the screw hole that's here. And then this top cover is going to come down, and there's going to be a screw that's going to go through there. It's an HM screw that'll go through there, screw all the way through, securing the axle underneath this leaf spring. Okay, there's the axle attached on that side, and that's what it looks like right there. Now we're basically going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to take this top cover here, we're going to attach it on here, and then there's going to be another HM screw that's going to go through here and into the hole that's on the bottom of this axle. Now once I've got the axle aligned up with the screw hole, which takes a little bit of maneuvering to do, I hold the axle underneath, giving it pressure as I screw down tight on that screw and making that connection tight. And that's the axle in place. Okay, next, what we want to do is we want to take these C-clamps, put it underneath the axle like this, and then push it through these holes out here at the top. Okay, we have our pins in place. And that was not an easy task to do. The pins do not go in very easily. You are going to have to take your time to maneuver the pins through these holes. And once I got those pins through the holes, though, I did glue them in place. These pins are made out of plastic and they can easily break, so take your time when trying to get those pins through. Don't force it. Just do one hole at a time and you should be okay. Now, the entire kit, basically, or the entire pack that we've done so far, everything's been in metal. These leaf springs are in metal, the clamps are in metal, the C-clamps are in metal, these cover plates are in metal as well as the drive shaft. The only thing that we had that was in plastic are these little tiny C-clamps. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, in stage 15, it looks like we work on the front differential and parts of the transmission. So let's get these parts out. The first thing that we need is the front differential. They're calling this the front differential B, and it looks like that. And we need to take our chassis and turn it over. And we take our differential part, and right in here, you got two holes right here, and there's an indent where this bar is going to fit into. And there's a hole here and a hole there. So we slip this in right like that, aligning those holes together. And we secure that in with 2 CM screws. Okay, next we take our transmission shaft looking like this. And there is this type of an end here. There's a little bit of a notch. And it's going to go into the notch right here on the transmission. So it's going to go in this way. We insert this end here into the hole that's right here. So this goes in first, like this, and then this just rests right into that notch right there. Okay, then we take our differential cover. It looks like this. This is plastic, and the detail should be facing you when you're putting it on with the chassis in this position. This is going to go over just like this. Then we're going to take our differential cover, which is metal, and it's going to go over just like that. And then we're going to secure that in with 2 CM screws. Okay, there's our differential in and our drive shaft. Looking like that. Turn around this way. Looking like that. And that's all there is to do in that stage, and that's all there is to do in that pack. Now I put a link in the descriptions and a QR code that will take you over to iXO Collections if you'd like to get this for yourself. I really hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up, as this does help the channel. Now if you haven't already subscribed, please remember to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, as that not only helps the channel, but will also notify you of new videos posted. Other than that, always have fun in your garage, your workshop, or wherever it is you build your models. Until next time, thanks for watching.